Tarhata Brazal experienced rape and intimate partner violence from her high school boyfriend. After the relationship ended, Tarhata told her sister and her cousin what had happened. I believed it was a normal thing that happened in relationships. The environment I was raised in catered to what boys and men wanted. I was used to living in a cultural and social perspective of masculine dominance, with women being quiet and obedient. Though she is glad she disclosed the abuse, Tarhata says speaking about it brought up many difficult emotions. There were a lot of after effects. The rapes kept coming into my mind like a broken record. I could not function. It felt like the PTSD, shaking, anxiety, paranoia, anorexia, and suicidal thoughts had taken over my life. Some of the people Tarhata trusted most blamed her for what had happened, insulted her, and made her feel ashamed for telling the truth. Many of them knew the perpetrator and chose to believe his side of the story. No one wants to believe that a person they know and believe is a good guy would do something like this. After getting through that difficult period, she found herself surrounded by the people who had stood by her and supported her. After years, I eventually found people who were healthy and safe. I found out who my real friends and family were. I let the others go. Several months after telling her sister, she told a close friend of hers who reacted in a supportive way. Her friend told her that it may be helpful to share her story with others. I owe everything to that friend. He wanted to hear my story and told me that others wanted to hear it too. The next day she found herself in her friend's former high school, prepared to share her story in front of a group of students. I started telling my story and soon realized that absolutely no one was paying attention. None of them were taking me seriously. I got angrier and angrier. I was so mad that nobody was listening. I just wanted to be heard. 15 minutes in, I remember banging my fist on the desk, yelling at them. That's when they started to listen. Tarhata was worried that she had acted inappropriately, so she was surprised the next day to find messages on her phone of love, support, and gratitude for telling her story. Because of hearing Tarhata's story, several of the students had gone to the school counselor to discuss their own experiences of sexual violence for the first time. That's when I found my voice, and I've been sharing my story ever since. To best support survivors, Tarhata says we should just listen. Listen and let survivors speak their truth. It seems simple, but it takes a lot of patience, introspection, and selflessness. She emphasizes that it is important not to ask survivors details of their experience, rather to let them tell their story in whatever way they choose and whatever time they choose. Offer yourself to be part of their healing process, but do it on their timeline. Tarhata knows from her own experience that patient and non-judgmental listening can be truly healing. Her sister has been her biggest advocate, listener, and supporter through her healing process. After learning of the sexual assault, Tarhata's sister did not pressure her to go to the police, but instead listened and waited for Tarhata to feel ready to report it. She didn't make me do anything I didn't want to do. She waited until I was ready. She gave me the power of choice. Everyone was trying to make me do what they thought would help me. People were trying to force me to act in a certain way, but my sister didn't. Because of that, she truly gave me my voice back. Now a mother, Tarhata realizes that there was a lack of appropriate information on teaching children about consent. Consent is needed in every social setting. For kids, consent can be about sharing crayons with a classmate. I also like the concept of red light, green light to talk about consent. She says that some people resist talking to kids about these topics because they do not discuss sex yet. But Tarhata says it's about learning respect, boundaries, and appropriate touch, which can be discussed at any age and applied to many topics. Everything that I am doing is not just for me or other adults. It's because I want my son to be a good human being. This is my way of passing on leadership to the next generation and giving them the tools they need. The spotlight is now on them, and I am excited for their future.